Greetings, everyone. This is a very special YouTube video, and it's a very serious one, but I need your attention to share this with you. Christians are being not just attacked, but martyred, and President Trump is preparing to defend, according to some inside the White House. And I do hope that either the pressure he puts on this situation can help change it, or if it doesn't change it, that there'll be some involvement in this major African nation to put a stop to this. Now, here's what I'm going to say. When you read the New Testament especially, you will discover that Jesus predicted that there's going to be great persecution. Persecution is a guarantee when it comes to being a Christian. Now, there's different levels of persecution that exist. First of all, you have persecution by laws that are passed. And even during COVID, why it wasn't persecution, there was great hindrances to the church because of laws that were passed in certain states. Of course, they were passed out of protecting people, but for some people, some states got over it very quickly, and others just sort of clamped down on Christians for a long period of time. So laws can be passed that will affect the Christian faith. Secondly, there's verbal harassment. Verbal harassment comes through news media, social media, and it can even come through the workplace against Christian people and people that identify as Christians. There's also physical abuse. In certain nations of the world, there is times when they beat Christians on the street. There are times they stone Christians. And in some nations, there are Christians that are actually being beheaded on a consistent basis, especially if other religions are involved in attacking those who are Christians. And of course, a lot of that happens in overseas nations and what is called third world countries. And then we have actually martyrdom, which is taking place. There are countries that arrest Christians and they disappear. Some of the largest nations with 1.5 to 1.6 billion in population, two of them in particular that I'm thinking of, are very, very serious persecutors against Christians because Christianity to them is a threat against their own religion. Now, presently, Africa is a nation that is quite divided when it comes to religion. When you talk about Africa or the continent of Africa, you have two basic main religions that are a part of the African continent. You have Islam, which is very strong in certain nations in Africa, and you have Christianity, which is very strong in certain nations in Africa. And then you have nations, and one that we're going to talk about, which is actually split, where one region is predominantly Muslim and the other region is predominantly Christian. Now, the northern part of Africa, including Egypt, Libya, Ethiopia, Sudan, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, etc., are predominantly Islamic-controlled nations. The government predominantly is Islamic, etc. When you come into Central Africa and you go into Southern Africa, it can be quite different. There are nations where Christianity is very strong in those particular African nations, but one nation that is completely split is the large nation of Nigeria. And Nigeria is split basically, and this is simplifying it now, that from the northern part of Nigeria is Islamic, and from right around the central area, south of the nation of Nigeria, is predominantly Christian. Now, there are 232 million people that populate Nigeria. There's 250 different ethnic groups, and there's actually 500 different languages. So you can see that it is a very widespread, very highly populated nation. Now, again, in the north is predominantly Islam, south and central is predominantly Christian. Around 2009, there began to be very serious attacks against Christian churches that were burnt to the ground, pastors that were martyred, people that were killed. Tens of thousands were actually killed since 2009, and millions of people have been displaced in Nigeria. And a lot of this is because of radicals that are attacking Christians. It is considered to be the sixth most dangerous nation when it comes to terrorism, especially terrorism being used against its own people. Now, there is a man by the name of Riley Moore who is making the Trump administration very much aware of the militant groups that are involved in Nigeria attacking, martyring, and killing Christians. There was a group, one radical group invaded a school of young girls and took them hostage hostage into the forest. There was a busload of people. Now, this is years ago when Reinhard Bonnke was living, but there was a busload of Christians. The bus was packed, and they were going to a Bonnke crusade. And on their way back, they were completely gunned down by these radicals, and the whole bus was completely killed of everyone in it, and all of them were Christians, and they would be considered biblically Christian martyrs. There are gangs that operate on the roads when you go through Nigeria. There's gangs along the road. Boko Haram is one of those radical Islamic gangs. They kidnap people, they use violence, and so on and so forth. So you do have places in the country where you have some of the sweetest people. In fact, I would say the majority of Nigerian people, if you were to meet them, because I've not preached in Nigeria, I have preached in Africa. And the African people that I have met in Kenya, Uganda, Zambia, I even went to South Africa, are really some of the sweetest people that you've ever met, and kind people. But remember this, that in every nation just about of the world today, maybe not so much in the Western Hemisphere of America, Canada, and Latin America, although you do have gangs and drugs and terrible things in the West. But in some parts of the world, in these countries, people may be at poverty level. And a lot of times there is criminal activity that takes place. And some of the criminal activity is created by what we call the religious fanatics or religious radicals in these countries. So what I want to say to you is simply this, that we need to begin, first of all, to pray and to encourage the president to become involved in any third world country or major country outside of the United States that is slaughtering our Christian brothers and sisters. As someone said, well, there's other nations where different people are slaughtering other people. Yes, and they should be involved in the prevention of that. It doesn't matter what background people are, what religion they are. There should not be this permission of just going in, kidnapping, slaughtering, and beheading anyone of any particular faith, because I think it is wrong, totally wrong to do that. I think it's a sin to do that. And I think people who are involved in martyring other people will spend eternity lost in hell. And there is no access to paradise biblically wise. There's no access to paradise for being that way. So having said that, I am thankful for this. Now something just came to me, and I've got to share this with you. Remember that in the days of Noah, violence filled the earth. It's mentioned twice in Genesis. Remember in the days of Lot, the mobs came to beat the door down to take the two men that were actually angels unaware in physical bodies, to take them into the street and have relations to them. So the days of Noah and Lot are repeating themselves with the violence that we have. However, I want to say this publicly, that I'm grateful for a leader who is bold enough to try to stop the drug boats from coming into our country, who is going into the major cities of America to stop all the drugs, the illegal drugs. And if you've noticed, there are people in high positions, judges and officers, and just all sorts of people that have been involved in this, taking under the table money. And now that's being discovered and being dealt with, hopefully and thankfully. And also very dangerous people inside the city that are being dealt with. So listen, it takes very bold, very strong leadership to go after these things that have destroyed our children, destroyed people, that have just done so many criminal activities. And years ago, there was a man that I knew that had a friend that was in actually the central Kentucky that he worked for, who was a major drug dealer. And he told me years ago, he said, this goes all the way up to the highest part of the government, like the kickbacks and the people getting money from it. And I heard that years ago when he worked for this man out of Lexington, Kentucky. And so I want to tell you that we need to be in prayer, and I mean very serious prayer about this, and we need to be supportive of removing those things and those individuals who are destroying and killing, because it's the thief that comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So my prayers are with all of the leaders in administration, whether it's governors or state leaders or state senators, and I know that most of you that watch us feel the same way too. We have to be in prayer that the enemy will be exposed in these situations, and that there will be some kind of resolution from these governments that are allowing this to happen and that are permitting this to happen. And many times, I'm honest, paid under the table for this to happen. So I want you to give this a thumbs up. If you agree with me on this, do it right now. Hit that thumbs up button one time. And also, I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is very important. Now, if you keep watching, there's always something special that we share with you. And it's very important not just to cut it off, but keep watching till the very end and share this with someone. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.
Perry Stone is now making available his new landmark book, Prophetic Alert. Stunning new insights reveal what is coming soon, which explores and explains numerous, often unknown and untaught prophetic triggers that will lead to the rapture and the future Great Tribulation. Here are some of the 20 chapters. Ezekiel's War and the Rapture Link. The confusion over who is Gog of Magog. God versus Gog. Big hooks in little jaws. How can the Antichrist overpower a militarily armed Israel? Iran, land of the assassins and the gate of the gods. The spirit of Cain in the land of the east. Satan's main principality ruling in Middle East nations. The coming angelic cosmic wrestling match. Why do many Muslims dislike the Jews and Israel? The prophetic vision of the serpent in Gaza. When the abyss releases the destroying angel. Kings of the East and 1.5 billion Hindus in prophecy. When a dead head rises again. God's 4 weapons of destruction that are coming. Does the Bible hint at a nuclear war? You will learn great prophetic insight from these chapters and more. When you order the Prophetic Alert book with your gift of $25 or more, Perry will also select and include in this offer a mystery CD, a surprise audio message on CD. To order, visit perrystone.org or call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD. That's 1-888-212-7323, or write to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. When writing, include your payment and offer number AB151. This is a very timely and important prophetic read for every Christian and all who love Bible prophecy. Your purchase is what helps keep Manifest on the air worldwide. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Whether audio or video, it's a timely, impactful word, ready whenever you are.